Hello, hello, hello. Today is Monday, August 23rd, and this is Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. Okay, so much has happened this week, and I can't wait to get into all of it. I mean, obviously, we've got Sarah Beth as head of household, which I stand, okay? I still can't wait to see what goes on with the rest of this week because a lot of stuff has gone on. But let's start with Sarah Beth. Let's start with the fact that the very first thing she did was put up Derek F. and Claire. What do we think about these nominations? Are they the best thing for Sarah Beth? Yay, nay.
I say yay, I think. I don't know. Everything's very confusing this week. I say yay for the simple fact that both Derek F. and Claire have been on the block recently. So I feel like she put up two people that were up. I think that's always a smart decision. You're not upsetting anybody new that hasn't been on. So for that reason, I guess I would give it a yay.
Okay, all right. Jeans. Derek F. and Claire. Are we surprised? What do we think?
I'm not surprised. I am a little disappointed. Because the whole thing, we saw a lot of Sarah Beth the moment that she won. I want everybody to know that this is my HOH. This is not going to be Kylan part 2. Like, I'm going to make my own decisions. I'm going to do my own thing. This is my HOH. This is my time to make a decision for my game. And what we ended up getting was Kylan having a one-on-one with Sarah Beth for like 5 hours until her brain was goo. And then she just did exactly what Kylan's previous week was. So like, I don't agree that this is the best choice for her game. I think she just did whatever Kylan wanted her to do.
Okay.
And here we are.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't disagree with that. I don't see Claire as her best thing to put up. Mainly because like we know that the cookout is the thing, right? So like obviously Sarah Beth really should not be putting up any white people, which is like such a weird thing like to say, but it's true. So it makes me cringe a little bit. But DF, I mean, like if there's any way that something could flip, I don't think that DF is like a bad decision to make. Anybody from the cookout being on the block is a good thing for anyone else not in the cookout.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right.
Especially since like we've already begun to see some dissension within the ranks, which I really can't wait to get into, and I'm going to be the one to bring us there. Okay, so the cookout potentially being dissolved before Final 6 is what I want so very badly. And watching Tiffany just give it to Derek is everything I wanted because he so needed it. And I so agree with Miss Tiffany. Okay? For you to come up there the way that you did with Brittany and then call her a coward during your exit, I really feel like that drew a line in the sand. I mean, what do you guys think?
Oof. This conversation
was so delicious.
Wild. And I was waiting for it all day too, because I think I saw, I don't know if it was Facebook maybe, that Facebook had put something up, like kind of like a sneak peek of this conversation, kind of saying like what'll happen, what will Tiffany and Derek F be able to sort of like, smooth things over, like what's gonna happen.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have this feeling that they're going to be able to like work together for a while, and then something might happen that just, because of the cracks that are already there, it'll kind of make it. There's just so much left in this game. There's so many weeks left. There's so much that can happen. So I don't know.
So very much. Oh.
Well, what was interesting to me is that this conversation, because I hadn't seen it on feeds, I didn't know that this happened. And as I was watching it, I was like, how did I miss this? And then I'm looking through Twitter. This was a conversation from last week.
Oh, wow.
Wait, so last week in terms of like before...
Like during Kylan's HOH week.
Really? Even more fun. Well, you know what? I thought about that because I kind of felt like it was a little late. Like this felt like a little after the fact. Yeah.
Wow. See, part of me feels like we could see the cookout crack at some point, and as the numbers start to dwindle more, like we might see more signs of it. But even in this last episode, whether it's Derek X and Hannah, or Sarah Beth and Kyland, or even Tiffany and Claire, like it seems like these members of the cookout have other allies that we might even refer to at times as like their number one. But in a lot of the things that I've seen them say, it seems like they're very focused on like what the true objective of the overall alliance is, and that's why I wonder if we really will see them crack, though.
So I was under the impression this whole time that the plan was to get the cookout to Final Six, but I think it was in one of Tiffany's DRs. She was like, "No, the plan was to get the cookout to jury." So,
really? Even more exciting.
I thought that's what she was saying, because I was under the impression that they were just trying to get down to Final Six, and then she was like, "I just wanted to get the cookout to jury, and then like whatever happens, happens." And I was like, "Oh, so are we gonna maybe see some cracks before the non-cookout members leave, or is this gonna be like get the cookout to 6?"
Oh man, well, I love to see it.
That's interesting. I always thought it was the 6-2.
I always thought it was the 6-2. But even just getting them the jury is interesting enough. But especially after seeing the whole thing with Tiff and DF, yeah, it does make you wonder. It makes you wonder, like, what if we fire a shot at him first? I mean, obviously no, because we know things and we've seen things. Right. But I'm saying, like, maybe not right now. But I'm just saying, like, in general.
Wow.
Although, fun question. Now, does anybody remember the rules? Let's not get ahead. The High Rollers room was open, right? High Rollers room. And we saw ALYSSA play, and she played uncontested. Right? Yeah, she was alone.
Yeah.
I saw nothing else.
Poor ALYSSA has only won 2 competitions, and one was thrown to her, and one was unopposed.
We say poor ALYSSA, but a winner is a winner. And she did win the chopping block roulette. Now, people could say now whether or not this is actually a win. Because obviously her number one went up. Right. But I don't know. I find some of this interesting because with some of the dissension that's already there, is it possible that we could see somebody fire a shot at Xavier if he doesn't come down?
I mean, I think other than Tiffany, Xavier is the most threatening competitor in the game right now. Like he's set up really well, especially because like we know he can win competitions, but he also doesn't really ruffle anybody's feathers because he's playing a really good social game. And even we see like when all of these cracks in the cookout are happening, I think he mentioned it in one of his DRs too. He's like, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do to keep the cookout together. He's really being the person to kind of like mediate and make sure that nothing blows up to the point
but I
of,
also
like,
feel like he's part of the
alliance.
reason why we're missing out on some really good TV. Like he's constantly like putting down fights and like putting out all these fires. And it's like,
it's not really for our enjoyment, but
exactly.
It's can you
stop it? I mean, you even blocked the Christian and ALYSSA kiss. Okay, which is like such a weird end of this throuple that I didn't think I'd be on the other end of. Like, I don't really understand like why you were so jealous. All we hear is that there are 99 cameras in this house, and not a single one gave us that kiss. So annoying. And thank you, Xavier, for bungling that moment.
Yeah. Can I say? I just wanted to mention something interesting too, because I 100% agree with you, Gina, that Xavier has been playing a great social game. Like he seems to get along with everybody. But I do wonder, and I know obviously the game is always ahead of where we are, right? Because our next episode, right, that we'll get is not till Wednesday. So things are happening in the house, right? But
we like to flip flop.
Right. But I thought it was interesting because in last night's episode, I do remember Sarah Beth at one point saying about Xavier, that when the team twist was going on with the Kings, she did kind of feel at times like sort of like the bottom of that team, where it was ALYSSA and Christian and Xavier, and maybe she felt sort of left out. And I wonder if now that if Xavier has just sort of landed on the block, I wonder if she would decide maybe this is the time. I don't know.
She was throwing his name out there for nominations before she put anybody up too.
Yeah.
Wait, now who is this? Who?
Sarah Beth, I think she was talking to Kyland in the Have Not room. She had name dropped Xavier as somebody that she was considering maybe not feeling so great with.
Yes, you're correct. And Kyland immediately tried to steer her away. Like immediately. Yeah. I remember
this.
Yeah.
Yes, because Kyland had said, "Oh, like he's one of my number one people." Like blah,
yeah.
Right. But like, it kind of doesn't really matter what Sarah Beth wants. Like, despite the fact that it was most recently her birthday, it doesn't actually matter what she wants because like she can't vote. So like,
yeah.
I wonder. Let's just say the nominations stay the same. Well, I guess it would be Claire. But would it? Oh man, this is when I wish we had watched the feeds because I don't actually know who ends. Gina does. Gina knows.
Of course I do.
She's smiling. She texted me earlier and she's like, "Oh, I don't know how much I can add in terms of context. I didn't really watch the feeds."
Listen, what I said was I haven't really been watching the feeds a lot. I've been keeping up with what's going on. I'm just not.
Right, but the second that I mention something that matters, all of a sudden you know an answer. So like, what are you talking about? You don't know things.
I know the important events. I don't know all the extraneous stuff that's fun to talk about.
So she knows enough. She knows enough. So you know who goes up.
I know the final nominations, yes.
Okay. Well, I would like to know that, and I would like to discuss it at the end. So if we have to remove John, if he doesn't want to know, or if any viewers or listeners don't want to know, we'll let you know when it's coming. But I definitely want to discuss it. And anybody who's watching with us live, hang on. We'll let you know when it's coming. But until then, it's Claire and Xavier. Okay, it's Claire and Xavier. Now, I was just listening to this other podcast, and they brought up something that was very interesting, and I thought it'd be very fun to discuss it. And I definitely think it's something we should be discussing regularly. Okay, because now we're in jury. Okay, this is what we've been called for, and what everybody else has been called for. And I lost my thing. So, jury management. What are we gonna do? And what does this look like for the cookout? Now, if we're putting 6 of them in there, which they already are, we're assuming there's going to be a final two cookout members. I would really love to see that actually not happen. I would love for DX and the rest of the white people to get on board and realize what's happening and stop it. You can't stop the whole thing. It's too late. You're outnumbered. But I would really love to see a cookout and another, which is weird because I've never referred to somebody, not me, as another. But I would really love to see another just because I want to see how things shake out.
That though.
Yeah, tell me about it.
If there's one cookout member and one non-cookout member, the cookout makes up the majority of the jury.
Right. That's what we say now. And that's why I wanted to get into this, okay? Because this is only August 23rd. Like, what happens once everybody leaves, okay? Once, like, the others leave and we're just left with the cookout. Even though I hope that's not what happens. I hope that like DX or Claire, somebody just keeps winning things and somebody just messes the whole thing up. Like that's really what I want.
It's just more interesting that way.
It's far more interesting. Like, what are you talking about? Of course it is. Like, I don't care white, black, male, female. I just want to see alliances that are running things get disbanded and have a hard time. I don't want to see everything just go smoothly for them. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what sex they are. Okay. I'm here for Big Brother, okay? I don't care what anybody is. All right, so I want to see the Alliance have a rough go, and I want to see what that looks like, because that is why we're all gathered here, okay? Yeah. Right? Let's just be honest. Yeah. So I'd really love to see another kind of like weasel their way in, and but then what does that look like at that point? Because at that point, everybody should be turning on each other. Things will be so different at that point. Like, what if our final two was like a DF and a DX? Like, what does that look like? Because we already know that Tiffany really has a very soft spot in her heart for DX, and she ain't feeling anybody's DF. What if they just sort of floated on their own way and they ended up as final two? Then what? Yum. Okay? Yum. Because I can't say that the
I feel
cookout
like
would
if
all
it was
go
anybody,
DF. I don't know. I'm not so sure.
If it was anybody other than Big D, I would say just the cookout member is probably going to have the votes. But he's the
Would you
one
say that? Would you say that if it was Azza and DX?
Honestly, I would. I feel
You
like
would. You would.
I feel like the cookout would remain strong to their goal. I really think that they would vote.
I'm not.
I mean, who's to say?
I'm not convinced.
But it seems to me like even though they all have their personal differences, they are still kind of staying together for their main goal, you know?
And
like they're still saying like, let's just get us to, if the goal is getting past jury and getting to final 6, they're still saying, let's just stick together to 6 and then we hash it all out later, you know?
Yeah, that's what they're saying. But like, can I make an argument for what the situation might look like if we had like a DX and a DF? Now we've got people like Tiffany and Xavier who have a real respect for the game. I feel like, do we really think they're going to give their vote for $750,000, the most that we have ever seen on any Big Brother season ever? Do we really think that we're going to give that to DF? Playing this nappy, sleepy game. Like, I'm just saying, I feel like somebody like Tiffany, who has gamed so hard, do you really, really think that she's going to give $750,000 to somebody who slept half the time and that like came in the HOH room and like kind of like raised up to her and like pushed up on her? I lost my headphone again. I'm saying I'm getting really into this. Like, I don't know. I'm really not sure.
I feel like
you still think so.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think I really do
tell
feel
me the
like
thing.
Tiffany. I think that Tiffany and Xavier are very motivated to get their goal. It's very clear what the cookout, you know, what their goal is, and I think that they're pretty. I actually think it's less likely that like DF would vote for Tiffany if she was final 2. I think that Tiffany and Xavier and the cookout would actually stay like true to their word if DF was the cookout representative in the final 2, and I could see it being less likely. I could see DF like rallying Azza and Brittany and whoever else he could to vote against Brittany because of all the problems that they've had. I see him like sort of holding on to that grudge more than she would.
I agree with that, honestly.
You do. I find that to be very interesting. Okay, all right. I mean, who am I? I ain't nobody. But okay, I just find that to be very surprising. Certainly not my take at all.
Is it your dislike for DF that's driving?
No, because everything that I've said here, I honestly could say about Azza as well. I'm just not. I really do view the two of them as the lowest on the totem pole. And I just don't see somebody like Tiffany. I don't know enough about Xavier. Not that I feel like I know a lot about Tiffany either, but because of the way that she's played, even though she hasn't won HOH and we haven't really gotten like a whole lot of insight into her gameplay. But seeing how she speaks and how she runs things, again, she is the mastermind behind the entire cookout. So like, this is somebody who really loves this game and knows how to play it. Is she really going to vote for somebody who's not playing like that? That's my thing, regardless of cookout or anything like that.
Yeah.
Especially we're looking at a cookout with the 2 cookout members as the final 2. Let's switch it. Let's make it Xavier and DF. It's not DF.
No.
I agree with you.
Even if it's Claire DF. She's not voting. She's not. And like, I don't really know what an Xavier would do either. Do we really think at that point he's going to say choose the cookout? We don't need to have an answer now. Just something to think about as we go forward, because it's going to be an ongoing conversation because of this whole jury management thing. Like this is really, this should really be dominating some of our conversations because it's so important.
I know. It's like, not even by the end of the week, our answers could be different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how
no, of course, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, we don't even have to wait 3 or 4 weeks. Just give it a couple of days. See how everybody's doing.
Tomorrow we'll reconvene.
Yes. Well, that's kind of what makes me excited for even the end. So even if we get a final two, that's two cookout members, there's a certain excitement that kind of comes from that, that like I have not experienced as far as like a live season. I have not seen an alliance that stayed true from the very, very beginning, make it until the very end, and then still sit final two. And then to see what that alliance does at the end.
Yeah.
Every other season of Big Brother that I've watched, there were already fractures that happened before then. And this is the first time that we're kind of seeing a large alliance like actually make it to the intended goal, question mark, question mark. I mean, I guess we're going to really see by the time we get to the end of this week. And I see Gina looking up to the sky.
No, I'm just trying to think because I would argue
she might have some information for us. Once we get to the spoilers, that it's going to change.
On past seasons because I would argue season 20. I would argue season 20.
You would argue season 20. You would argue season 20. All right, now remind me who's 20? What's happening? Tyler, Casey.
They had, what was it, level 6? I'm pretty sure
level 6. Right. John, did you watch that?
I did.
Okay. Because see, obviously I watched it because I watched it with you, Jeans.
All of the seasons like meld together at this point. It's
they
hard
do
to
because like when you watch so many of them, like it's so impossible to remember everything that happened every single time. But like, who were the final? Do you remember the final 4, the final 5? Like, who are we ending up with?
So I think final 5 was where the double eviction was, and that would have been Brett, Angela, JC, Casey, Tyler.
JC.
Was he in level 6? I can't remember.
He wasn't in level 6.
He was not like one of those 6. Swing votes, right?
Yeah, he was like a Claire. Yeah. JC was to level 6 as Claire is to the cookout.
He was very much a double agent. I do remember that, but I couldn't remember if he was in the alliance.
I'm not even really sure that he really knew that level 6 existed, though. Okay. You know, and I don't even want to comment on that because BB20 was very, very much in the beginning of my BB watching. And like,
that was what, like the first season that you watched from start to finish?
I think it was the first season that I watched from start to finish. And I think it was the first season that I watched live. If not even the whole thing, I think maybe I caught up and then like kind of got there.
Yeah, that sounds right.
From your prodding. Yes. And like, and I'm not even totally sure that I fully understood exactly like what was going on and like if there were big moves being made. I'm not fully sure that I understood the full scope of the game, if that makes sense. So like that's a season I'd really love to rewatch because I'm really not sure about it. I'd love to give that one like another go.
Yeah.
But okay. So we've got, who are the final nominations? We got Claire and Xavier. We've got a veto to play. I'm ready to get into spoilers. What about you guys? John, do you want to be spoiled?
I do. I know what the last.
You don't want to be spoiled. You can peace out.
No.
Okay. So anybody who's watching, anybody who's listening, we're going into spoilers because now our feed queen, well, she knows what happened with the veto, and I don't want to wait. I want to dive in, and I want to dive in again Wednesday at 9:30. Okay, so we can really dive in once we see all the context that came around it. I am definitely wanting to know what happened with this veto. So, Miss Jeans, if you would be so kind.
Of course. So the veto was played on Saturday. I believe it was some kind of competition where like people get punishments. We already saw the like one with the bags or whatever. So I don't think it was that.
Because, you know, Miss Sarah had such a thing about her, you know, losing her 5K.
But they're definitely, if not some kind of a punishment, I think there was a risk reward piece to it because the veto holder has gotten a certain number of punishments. But the veto was won by Xavier, who has now,
not surprising,
pulled himself off of the block, and the replacement nominee is Derek X.
Oh,
okay. I sort of now that I sort of knew because I had seen something on the socials because I had popped onto the Jury Duty Twitter and I had seen something about him saying like, "Oh, America, you know, if I leave or something like that, please give your votes to Hannah or something like that. I had seen he had said something like that, so I kind of figured. But yeah, and that really, we have a problem. I think Bay is leaving.
I think so too.
It's looking like they're looking to target him more so than Claire at this point.
Well, yeah,
of course they are. Of course they are, because DX doesn't have a good enough partner. Like, you know, Claire really wins here. Claire wins because she's got Tiffany, and Tiffany is the mastermind behind everything. Okay, so if you got Tiffany, you're good.
Yeah,
and that's where I think DX is kind of fucked. So that's too bad for him. That's really too bad. I did the best I could for you, DX. I gave you so many votes.
I'm so upset because he could afford to play this game, and he was like, "No, I'll wait to bank for next week." But had he played, he would have beaten out Alyssa. He would have won the roulette, and he would have earned himself safety. Mm-hmm. I don't know what the issue with the roulette would have been then, like who would have been put up, whatever. Like that doesn't really matter. But
it wouldn't have mattered because it wouldn't have been him.
Right. And either way, like I think just statistically, a cookout member still would have gone up. But I mean, that unless Claire won the veto, then she would have been going home this week. I'm pretty sure, because who else would have been the replacement? Another cookout member or Alyssa? You know?
Right.
But he really him not playing the roulette game screwed him this week.
Yeah, that killed him. That's really too bad.
Wow.
That's too bad.
Wow. And it stinks. Like, you know, God, that's so upsetting. Like, aside from the fact that we've heard multiple people in the house say that, like, Derek X is clearly, you know, probably the biggest threat, if not the biggest threat. One of the biggest threats, if not the biggest. But, you know, we've already heard him say that, but he's sitting on the block with Claire. So you said, Kyle, like, Tiffany's got her back. If Claire's not sitting on the block next to a member of the cookout, she is good. She's good. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, there was a question of would she go home or not when she was sitting next to Xavier, but, like, you know, it was a good chance that she would have. But now next to Derek X, I think she's safe. That's rough.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's too bad. That's really too bad.
You know, Sarah Beth, maybe she would have ended up on Derek X anyway, you know, at the end of it. But it does stink, too, that, like, Kylan definitely helped steer her towards him. And as far as Derek X knows, he probably thinks that him and Kylan are good. They were working together this whole time, right?
Which is very interesting when you get back into the conversation on jury management. Because Brittany, our only other juror, already feels very betrayed by Kylan. He's, like, really on her list. She said it a million times in the exit interview. So now Derek X going out on what kind of was Kylan's mastermind of Sarah Beth's HOH, if he does end up being the person to go home. If this does end up coming out, which I'm sure it would in the jury house, once more people end up back there, he will now feel betrayed by somebody that he thought maybe was his final two. You know, so it's Kylan might not be looking too great if the jury goes bitter
for some time. I mean, like, Kylan's kind of been a mess. People don't really like him.
He has been really influential. He's just been doing a really messy job of it. You know what I mean?
Right, but see, even you use the word messy as a descriptor. I mean, like, he's been a mess.
Because I think he's just not considering his jury management.
Which
we've seen people lose because of many times.
I was going to say is more than half the battle, you know. Oof.
Wow. Man, this is not like the week. This is not how I was hoping this week would turn out.
Yeah.
No.
But
I mean, what a somber note to go out on.
I know. As you were like, "Oh, I can't wait to find out," I was like, "I think you can. I don't think you want this information."
I don't want to find out. Well, you know what? I mean, we can always keep our fingers crossed for, like, a last-minute flip. We have certainly seen crazier things happen.
I mean, even still, if there's a flip, then Claire goes out. I'm not thrilled about that either. You know, either way, two of my favorites are on the block.
Right.
I'm not thrilled. But I'd rather see Claire go than DX. I mean, that's just my personal thing. Okay.
He's been one of my absolute favorites the whole game.
Yes, because you know what? At least he made some big moves. Like, I have no beef with Claire.
I would argue the biggest move of the season so far.
I just don't want to see him go yet. I don't want to say that he deserves to win. He made one big move. There's a lot of game to play. I don't want to go that far, but I don't think it's his time to go. Although I do think it's his time to go in the sense that, like, it would be smart for people to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody else who has... I can't
blame anybody for wanting to target him because, as we said, when Christian was looking like he was going out, if Christian's out, then Derek is the biggest competition threat in the house. So it does make sense.
Sole exception of Miss Tiffany. Okay, because Tiffany...
I'm talking competitions.
Right, but if we're talking jury management and we're talking about endgame, they should be talking about Tiffany. Even if we're not, they should be. Yeah.
Tiffany is kind of dangerous either way because she is somebody that has been very influential the entire game of kind of shifting the target to where she wants the target to go. She can easily make the jury vote the way that she wants to vote.
Right. And I wouldn't quite call her a comp beast, but she did win one wild card. So, I mean, her comp wins column is not checklist, but, you know, I don't know. It's wild. It's really wild. I want to say, what do we think for the week ahead? But we kind of know. Except maybe we don't. There could be a last minute switch.
Yeah.
Guess we'll just have to wait and see.
I would really love a coup d'etat right about now.
Oh my god, I would love a coup d'etat. Except the only thing about that is that, like, I still feel like that was just production's way of, like, making things happen that was not supposed to. Like, we don't really like that things are going the way that they're going, so we're gonna just switch.
Way. Isn't that how all these twists go?
No, I don't want to believe that. No. I don't want to think that that's the way that all these twists go. I would really, really like to think that, I don't know, it's all natural. America's really voting, and, like, that's what's going on. Like, that's really what I want.
Yeah. I'm actually interested, like, obviously, what is the last power actually called though? It's like that game. It's the coin of destiny, right?
Yeah. The coin of destiny.
And how many BB bucks do you need to play that?
250. So currently, the only person that would have been eligible is Derek X. Unless there are more ways to earn BB bucks throughout the week. Like, no matter how the vote goes, I don't know if anybody's gonna have enough.
So I wrote down the totals last night.
Oh, good. Give it to us.
Only ALYSSA played. So right now, Hannah, she has 150 because she got 75 2 weeks in a row. Xavier also, so he has 150. And then other than that, ALYSSA has. Actually, no, she had 125, but she played.
But Derek F's got 150.
Derek F has 150, yeah. So, and if Derek X manages to survive, he has 200, but he has to make it through the week in order to use it. So. It looks like the only possible people that could, like, flip things up next week, and it depends who the HOH is too, I guess, but it would be Hannah, Xavier, and Derek F.
Yeah.
So everybody's in the cookout.
So now these rules were so unclear, but was this like the coin of destiny? Would whoever wins be able to choose the renoms, or is it up to chance as well? Like, is it a true coup d'etat, or would it just be up to chance of who ends up on the block?
Honestly, who fucking knows? Okay, the podcast that I was listening to the other day was literally like, I really feel like the High Rollers room is the reason why Julie self-destructed on Thursday. Like, everything she said and did was a disaster, and I have to back them up. I really feel like that is the reason why. These rules are so convoluted and they're so complicated. She's just like, and like she's just having like the roughest go.
Yeah, she had a rough time on Thursday.
I have absolutely no idea how the Coin of Destiny goes, and honestly, I'm not even really sure that production knows. I should figure it out when it happens.
The details are very...
Yes, the details are very sketchy because they don't even know. They don't know. Maybe the person who came up with the Coin of Destiny will have COVID. They don't know what's going to happen. Anything could change. Nobody's coming to work. Like nobody knows what's going to happen, including Julie. And honestly, nobody may be able to even afford it. I got to tell you something. If DX goes out, all votes for DF. I want to see this Coin of Destiny. I want to see 2 Cookout members on the block before Final 6. Okay, that's what we need. That's what America wants because I said so. And that's it. Okay, it has to happen. I want to see 2 Cookout members on. I want to see what goes on. Coin of Destiny, please give it to us. We need it. We need it. So if DX goes out, it's DF 97979. Because who was the other person that you said could afford it? Who else?
Xavier and Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay, now wait a minute. Now Hannah could be interesting. Hannah could be pissed because her bae went out. Let's split it. 5 and 5. Miss Hands and Mr. DF. No Xavier. No Xavier.
Unless, again,
what a snooze.
There's a possibility that these.
Actually, what is it? What?
I just remembered because I was saying there's a potential that the amounts have changed as a result of the veto competition because I think there was something about earning BB bucks or losing BB bucks, and I remembered a piece of information. If you would like me to give it to you.
Yes, I would give it to us. Give it to us.
So, as a result of winning the veto competition, Xavier has lost all of his money.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, there were a couple of punishments. He has to be
for it.
He has to be in isolation until the vote. There was something else. I don't remember what the other one was, but he also lost all of his BB bucks.
Zeroed out. Bankrupt.
So I don't know if that means he just lost it or if someone else gained it. You know, I don't know the details. So I don't know if everybody else's amounts stay the same.
Honestly, even better that you don't know. All the more reason to tune in Wednesday at 9:30, okay? We're coming to you right after the video. We can't wait to chat about it. There's so many exciting things going on. So if you guys don't have anything else, let's get out of here.
Sure.
You done? I'm done. I don't know.
I think that's it.
Yeah, okay. This has been Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. Thanks for tuning in, okay? What do we want to say? Like, subscribe, share with a friend, and join in the conversation. Check us out on the socials, and we're out of here. Thanks for watching.